Hello! So I'm very excited today because I'm going to have an interview with Alma from Stanford University talking about digital nomadism and my lifestyle. And I know many of my friends and family are wondering, and like many people will understand. When I arrived to customs, they're like, why are you here? Why were you in all these countries? Like, what's wrong with you? What do you want to do in this country?
That's basically what I'm here to investigate. So I am going into my third year, and I am starting some basic research for my honors thesis, trying to understand the future of remote work and how it merges with, the combination between travel and work. And so I'm traveling around Mexico, interviewing digital nomads, and I'm really, really excited to have the chance to talk with Agata today about her life and her productivity and the decisions that have led her to the place that she's in today. So
you're a digital nomad yourself as well, right?
Sort of, in a weird kind of way. I'm doing remote work, but in person, but traveling around. So some sort of nomad, yes. Yeah. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Perfect. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Cool. So I guess just to get started, I would love to just hear a little bit more about where you're from, where you grew up, and kind of what job were you working before the pandemic started.
Yeah. So I'm from Spain. And I grew up in a small village in Spain, and then I went to a slight more big city where I'm from. And ever since I'm a little kid, I always wanted to travel. My family comes from different places in Spain, and I always traveling inside my country, so I've always been drawn to that. So when I was studying economics in this bigger city, I realized that everybody had the same ideas, the same mentalities, the same conversations, and they were not like mine. So I went to visit my friends in Madrid, and I realized people is so different, and they come from all around the world, and they don't care that much about what you wear or what you think. So I decided to move to Madrid there, and I also took the opportunity there for better exchange opportunities. So back in where I'm from in Galicia, I only was able to go to Italy or Romania, and then in Madrid I was able to go to Germany and to the Netherlands. So
wow.
I took exchange year in Amsterdam, and I loved it. That's where I learned my English, and yeah, I just wanted to stay there, but I had to come back to Madrid for a year. And I miss being abroad there. I was like, this is not what I want right now. I love this city, but I want to go abroad again. Yeah. So at the same time that this is happening, I'm starting to take marketing courses because I've always loved entrepreneurship more than economics. So yeah, I was doing these internships, and I didn't like my internship in Madrid that much. I didn't have so much work to do actually. So I applied to others, and they called me from a startup in Italy, in Milan. And I was like, there I go, I'm going to Milan. So yeah, I went to Milan for 6 months. I loved it so much there, working for a big startup. And
when was this, would you say?
This was in 2019.
2019.
It was until COVID.
Okay.
And so I finished my internship, and they hired me for 2 more months just as a freelancer because I didn't have the university contract anymore.
Doing marketing?
Yeah, I was doing digital marketing. It was more SEO, but it's an area inside marketing. So yeah, I was there, and then COVID hit. It was the beginning, and I decided to go back home, to think about my future steps. Yeah, totally. And the same happened. So I was at home, and I started writing my thesis to finish my bachelor in economics. But it was boring to me, to be honest. I'm not a good at school specifically. I love learning, but I like to do it on my own more than you have to learn this by heart, right? So I was doing a lot of yoga. I was cooking a lot, and I was just taking pictures of my food and uploading it on Instagram. My friends loved them, and I was like, I could be a social media manager. This would be cool. So I went in this platform called Upwork for freelancers.
Yeah, totally.
And that's how they made a contract for me those last 2 months. So in that platform, I have an account. You can see that I already made money through there. So that gave me some trust. And I created a whole profile of social media manager, although I've never done it. But I was like, I'm so interested in this. So then this man, this American man called Kyle, he contacted me because he was looking for a social media manager and somebody that speaks Spain, because although he's from the States, He was living in Barcelona as an expat. He was looking for someone with 3 years of experience and like 3.5 clients or something like that.
You're like, well...
And I was like, I have 0 experience, but this is my Instagram, looks nice. And what he really liked was my ambition, my I guess my intelligence, and just wanting to do the work, although I don't have the experience. So he hired me for 10 months. So like even before I got the degree, even before I finished my bachelor, I got hired by them.
This was after COVID?
This is during COVID.
During
2020.
Okay.
During COVID, yeah. So yeah, I started working for them 10 hours a week, and I was like, okay, I should get like a proper job. Like this internship that I had in Milan, it was in the office, so every day going to the office, back and forth, seeing all the people, going there when I have my period and I feel terrible. But it was good. But anyways, I just continued working for them, and the company grew, and so did my roles, and I started 10 hours, 20 hours, 30 hours, and full time. And like right now, I even got like even more responsibilities, and I'm not planning on leaving this company.
So you're with the same one that you started with during
Yeah.
COVID? Okay.
So this company sells Murphy beds in the United States and Canada, and that's what I do. I'm a marketing generalist. I started as social media manager, but then I jump into affiliates. I do graphic designs. I do whatever the company needs, right? And we grew that much that now they acquire another company. We also sell port swings.
Okay.
They just hire a marketing manager because we didn't have anybody really experienced with marketing, right? And I studied economics. I didn't know about marketing.
Yeah.
So they hire this person that is now my manager and my mentor. They hire a growth hacker, a copywriter. So now I have a proper marketing team.
Wow.
We work with a photographer, with a graphic designer that is doing the rebrand, and we're organizing a photo shoot in Miami now. And I'm like, I love my job now.
That's amazing.
I know, right?
So it's been about, what, 2 years? Okay.
2 years, yeah.
Damn. So are you still, you said you started kind of as a freelancer. Did that transition into like a full-time role? Are you still like an independent contractor? Like how would you classify yourself?
Yeah, so I started through Upwork, and I did like in these platforms, they create sort of a contract for you. So you don't have to worry about that. But then once you start making a certain amount of money, you need to think, okay, I have to pay taxes, right?
Yeah.
So the easiest way for us to do it is that I became self-employed in Spain. So I have like my company.
Okay.
And I export my services to the United States.
Okay.
So I have a contractor contract.
Okay, like an independent contractor.
Independent contractor. But I'm like an employee. It's just because of this weird situation that I'm in Spain. And I'm the only person in the company from Spain.
Totally.
Yeah.
So do you receive like any kind of benefits? Like how does it work with like insurance, like retirement, any of those kinds of things?
So by being self-employed in Spain, I pay like different taxes, and one of them is for my retirement, social security, and all that. Then from the company, I haven't like looked at it or talk about it. All my colleagues receive like health insurance and all that. I don't think I could because I'm not in the States.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So then when did you decide to like go abroad? Were you in Spain when you were working remotely like during the pandemic?
So I think your question, I hope I answered your question. I started working for them. So I have friends all across Europe after being in Milan and being in Amsterdam. So I was just visiting my friends and going on little trips and taking my work. It was so nice, but what I always wanted, like many people, is going to the Caribbean and going to drink coconuts. So that's what I wanted, but I was just so scared.
Yeah.
I was so scared, and everybody.
Had you ever done it before?
No. I mean, I travel alone in Europe. I flew to Norway and I took trains all the way to Milan before I started my internship. I did a lot of traveling in Europe and also alone, and I loved it. But I was just somehow scared to go to another reality so much different, because in Europe, more or less, it's the same reality in all countries. But one day I took the courage, thanks to my friends. I wasn't feeling that good, and I just booked my flight to Costa Rica.
Oh, wow.
I arrived there like 3 months ago.
Okay.
And as soon as I was in the flight, I was good. As soon as I landed, I woke up and I was like, I'm where I need to be. And I
Yeah.
was so glad and like,
Costa Rica will do that to you.
right?
Yes.
Right?
Make you feel like you're where you need to be.
Exactly.
But you were still then doing like the digital nomad thing in Europe.
Yeah.
You were just kind of like moving around,
Yeah.
staying with friends,
Yeah.
like that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Were you ever staying in like Airbnbs or hostels,
Oh.
or was it more like?
I did it all. Let me check that it's still recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here. So I did it all. I did Airbnbs, I did hotels, I did friends' houses, I did cafes, I did restaurants.
Yeah.
Anywhere is my office.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. So how long would you say that you've been doing the digital nomad thing? Like.
I guess more than 2 years. 2 years and 2 months.
Okay, got it. I guess like what were like the factors that made you want to like get into this lifestyle? Like, did you ever consider like, oh, like I want to go back to the office, like I want to find a job that's gonna let me go back to the office?
I mean, when we were locked inside and I still had to work, I found it extremely difficult to start working at home, and like I really miss the office and just seeing people more than. But you know, like my worries and that was more about the pandemic, not the lifestyle. So I'm a person that I don't like to just follow the rules that are imposed on me. If they make sense to me, I'll follow. But if they're not, and not just only rules, but the societal
like expectations
and what's normal, what's not.
Yeah.
So I think I kind of manifested this life because I think as a little kid I was like, I would love to just do whatever I want with my life. I don't want to be having to be certain place every day until this hour. And right now my work is also flexible. So I usually work around 9 to 5 like everyone else. But if one day, like yesterday, I had my period, so I couldn't work. I'm not gonna force it.
Yeah.
And I feel many people go to the office to do absolutely the bare minimum.
Right.
And then go home, and that's a waste of a day. Just stay at home in bed or like do laundry.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I really like that part.
Yeah.
And like for instance, last Sunday at night, I ended up doing like 5 hours of work because I was so focused and it was going so well. And sometimes on Mondays you just don't have that motivation.
Totally. But you feel like your job has like allowed you to be flexible in that way.
Right.
And like work when you need to.
Yeah. And I feel that everybody's job should be like that.
Yeah.
Like, they shouldn't be tracking when you log in, when you log out. They should just track that you're doing your work well, and if something is wrong, they should help you and motivate you to get there more than just just.
Do you feel like it's kind of a factor of your job that like you have certain things that you need to deliver rather than like you have to be like communicating with people all the time? Or I guess like what is it about your job that makes this kind of lifestyle possible?
It's just, especially now I'm turning more into a creative position. So what I need to have is like great ideas and implement them. It's not just as analytical. So, that sometimes it doesn't come when you're sitting at your desk.
Right.
It comes like when you're going for a walk to the bathroom and you're like, oh, wait a minute.
That's so true. Yeah. So, and what do you think about like the way that you were raised, like your family situation, your upbringing? Like, what is it about your circumstance that made this lifestyle possible for you in terms of like financial situation, family situation, kids, like relationships, like that kind of thing?
Oh wow, that's a lot that comes to mind. So first of all, as I said, my family lives 1,000 kilometers away from my home, so I've always traveled, and that's just normal to me. And my parents traveled a lot as well. Both of my parents are doctors and work for the government, so they will, for my whole life, they will go to the same place. Well, my mom changed jobs a few times and it was more interesting, but my dad will go to the same place every day. I mean, he has a good life, but I was like, I don't want to do that, like always the same place, the same people, repeat, no. So that's what's like inside me, like I don't ever want to do that. And then financially, I'm raised in a middle class family, so of course they support me with my studies. They pay for my education, for my flat in Santiago, and they supported me. With that said, I think that people with lower, like that comes from a family that is not that wealthy, I think they can still do it. I really believe so, if you have the guts to do it. Obviously, it's gonna be harder.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then apart from the financial situation with my dad, it all started when I went to Madrid. So I was studying, in my region, and then I was like, Dad, I just want to go to Madrid, and he was really upset. We kind of fight 3 times, he wouldn't understand it, but eventually I went there. I had problems. I didn't have my enrollment to university, and like they were not helping me, and I was crying in the campus like, Dad, what do I do? He's like, come back. And I was like, I'm not gonna come back. So I went to the secretary there, like the 5th time, and I was like, I want to talk to the boss here. And she got like so weird. She was like, oh my God. So they brought him to me, and so they need to, all the courses that I did in Santiago, they need to replicate them in Madrid. They accept them all.
You just
so
gotta
I was like,
push.
yes, you just gotta do it,
Yeah.
And slowly, then I went to Amsterdam and Milan, and my dad he understands that this is what I want and this is my life, so he supports me. When I told him I was gonna go to Costa Rica, I called him and I was like, Dad, please sit down for this. He thought I was gonna tell him I was pregnant.
No, I'm just moving across the world.
Yeah.
So when you decided to go to Costa Rica, like, did you have any idea of how long you were going to be traveling, or was it just kind of like, my job is remote, this is where I want to be, like, I have no plan of coming home?
I mean, I'm definitely coming back home because this is my first time, right? So I was tasting the waters here. I was seeing like, okay, let's see if this is for me, and hell, it is. So, yeah, but right now I'm just going with the flow, and I'm gonna go back to Europe because Europe is very nice in summer, and I definitely miss my dad, my brother, my cat, my friends, my room. But I'll definitely continue traveling in Europe, and then I want to come back here and maybe fly back to like Cancun, and then just go Belize, Nicaragua, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Costa Rica, the Caribbean side, Panama, and then Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina,
Oh, wow.
Paraguay, Brazil. I want to do it all.
Well, you gotta hit me up. I'm gonna be in Chile all of fall, so
For sure.
we'll see each other. I guess, like, so you said you're going back to Europe. Do you kind of like see this lifestyle as permanent, like in terms of like how long you see yourself doing something like this, and if not, like, what do you think would make you want to stay in one place for longer?
These are the things that I think about and reflect a lot, because when you travel, you are exposed to so many ideas and realities that you cannot help but wonder, like, what should I do, right? But to be honest, I think this is my lifestyle, and I'm gonna keep on traveling whenever my body feels, and I feel that, okay, I wanna, stay in one place and raise cows and just like garden my things. I'll do it, But I definitely see this as a lifestyle. It's my purpose in life is definitely to travel and to inspire people to travel and just, yeah.
I guess, okay, I'm not sure exactly if I'm going to phrase this question right, but like, how important would you say traveling is to the job that you're doing? Like, would you like consider doing a different job if the current one wouldn't let you travel anymore?
Yeah, I don't really know what you mean, but so.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, wait, let me phrase it differently.
Yeah, try.
Like, okay, let's say that your company was to say, okay, like, we're gonna need you to come into the office like once a month for like a couple of days, and like you can't travel for like those couple of days. How much would they need to like increase your salary in order for you to consider it?
Oh, I mean, as long as they pay for my flight and my stay there, I'll definitely do it because, and here's the thing, I like the problem with remote teams, and my company is fully remote, we don't have an office, is innovation is hard to happen. So the brainstorm and these conversations that you have having a coffee after a meeting, we lack those. So yeah, I'll definitely have like a hybrid sort of thing. Once a month sounds good, or less, but sometimes just magic happens, when you come together. But definitely not for like normal meetings, normal work days.
Yeah.
But in terms of innovation, I really think it's important.
So say more about that. Like, when you were working in an office, did you feel like collaboration and creativity and innovation was a really big part of your job?
Yeah, and it was like very, very interesting because it was a startup, right? And we didn't reach break even yet. So we were like, how are we gonna make this profitable? So we were always like thinking new ideas and how we can change things, and this doesn't make sense, and let's talk to this person. That was every day, and that was really motivating because people that has an entrepreneur mindset, they're always like, catching fires and like finding new ways of
Totally,
doing stuff.
totally.
So that was very nice.
So do you feel like that was something that you kind of lost when you went remote?
Yeah, but to be honest, one of the reasons why I'm traveling in America, it's because I am in the same time zone. So this was magical to witness. My schedule before coming here was 1 or 2 hours a week. My marketing team meeting and my meeting with my manager. That was pretty much it. As soon as I arrived, I went to a 13-hour meeting week. And like I keep on having like just meetings around the day, and we just collaborate so much more, and I definitely like it more. I was really struggling. I remember I was in Barcelona, and after work I went down to the beach, and I was like, I have no one to talk about these projects, and I don't really know marketing, I haven't studied, I don't know people that to talk about it with,
So what is your experience, when you came to Costa Rica, were you staying in Airbnbs or in Selena?
I did Selena.
Oh, you did, okay.
I did Selena.
Like, what made you want to choose Selena, like the
the comfort, the easiness, they just told me about it, and so
How did you hear about it?
A friend, like a colleague from work, she was in Costa Rica, and she did many different co-workings, but she definitely recommended to me. I'm also into yoga, and I know they have like classes and so on, so I was like, okay, this is like Selena Colleague is like the perfect thing to me. After that, I look at Airbnbs, but I realized I need to figure out that they have a nice chair to work on, that they have internet, and how am I gonna meet people? And talking again about collaboration and innovation, here I've met a lot of very inspiring people, and we talk about business all the time, and they work at Shopify, they have another e-commerce, so we're like, oh my god, I should try this, and then I say it to my colleagues, and they're like, oh my god, that's amazing, let's implement it.
So you feel like in the co-work space, you're talking with people about your job pretty often?
Yeah, not specifically at the co-work, but like getting out or at the restaurant or around the areas of Selena.
How has it impacted your work to be around people that work in things that are different from like in jobs that are different from yours and like for different companies?
It's just inspiring and interesting to watch, definitely. And like I see, for instance, I've met someone that, I studied economics, and he continued his career at the university, people that continue studying and get a PhD, and he's now working for the global bank, and he's working in the South Asia, and he's helping like the governments to take the right decision, and I'm like, wow, that's so cool, and that's a path I could have taken, but I didn't. But I mean, I'm glad I took the path that I'm taking right now, but it was just so inspiring.
Yeah, definitely. I guess what has it been about like the Selena co-live like environment that has like made this a productive space, like besides like stable internet, the amenities, the light, the situation of the chairs, like the ability to talk to other people, like
the
coffee I always see it, the coffee. What do you think has been like really important for you?
The community, I would say, just meeting people, because I started for 2 years working from home, so my days will be so sad. I woke up, make breakfast for myself, and just sit on my laptop, not talk to anyone, and then maybe luckily see one friend at the bar in my city. That would be my life. So I have no one to talk about all these questions I get at work. So now I can call my boss right away, or I can tell somebody that's also in the e-commerce industry, and I'll be like, what do you think about these? And they're like, no, that's bullshit, don't do it.
How do you think that do you think that high mobility, like moving around often, has helped your productivity, has like detracted from it? Why do you think that?
Interesting question. This one makes me reflect. I mean, I am learning. I'm learning, definitely. I'm learning when is the best time to take flights, but it just keeps my life very exciting, and I wake up like, wow, I'm in this new place, and I need to see things, so I gotta get my stuff done before I go, and I definitely feel more inspired for the things that I see, the people that I meet, and that translates into my work. So I think I am being more productive. Even like now, I started joining like language classes, which is something that I always wanted, and I'm like, I'm ready. I feel so full of energy. Also, traveling, people struggle sometimes with the food. I was struggling with food before because I wasn't able to stay at the same way, and since I'm here, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna eat all these coconuts and mangoes and all these amazing fruits they have in the tropics, and then I just have one meal a day, so I don't have to worry about like cooking and cleaning or going to the restaurant. So I feel so good now, thanks to that, and I'm so full of energy. I can take more work.
Totally. I guess, okay, so kind of going off of that, how many hours would you say you were working like before the pandemic, I guess, like in the office, including like getting to the office and coming home?
Oh, so that was my life. Like I will wake up at around 8 or 9. Then it will take me around like 40 minutes to get to the office, and we will always work like good 8 hours, I mean with breaks, and then it will be another hour to get home. But I was also finishing my bachelor, so I had like 3 courses. So many days after finishing at 6, after the whole day of working, I'll start studying. So it was pretty intense, yeah. It's pretty intense.
And how has that changed now that you've like come to like be a digital nomad, I guess?
1 second.
You're good.
Oh, this is still going.
Yeah, I think it's still going. Yeah. How do you think it's changed like since you've like started traveling and working remotely? Do you feel like you're working the same amount of hours? Like how has it changed your productivity?
Yeah, so like as I said, some days I will go to the office and in the morning I'll be so tired that the first 3 hours I don't do anything, or at the end of the day, or some days I'm just really unproductive, and then there's other days that I stay there until 8 and I'm like, I'm finishing this project today.
Totally.
So what has changed? I feel that I work the same, but those moments that I know I'm not gonna give my best, I'd rather just go rest or go for a walk or do my groceries or just put myself in another space, because I don't like to waste my time. Right? So I'm not gonna stare at my computer being so slow. So maybe I sit in front of my laptop less hours, but I get the same or more work done.
Totally. How do you think that like being in Mexico, being in Costa Rica, like being in these beautiful places has like impacted your productivity? Like how have you kept yourself disciplined?
Yeah, good question. So I kept myself disciplined because I wanted to do things, and in order for me to do those things, I have to reach my goals at work. I have to keep things going. So I will see myself working more focused. So before, I usually, and they say lazy people works double. I would just be on my laptop and like getting distracted and then back at it and then go to another thing. So now, if I'm working, I'm working. and then I'll do other things.
Yeah.
And also in America, people wake up earlier than in Europe. So I find I usually will wake up at 9, even 10, like a few years ago. But now I wake up at 6, 7, 8. 8 is the like most late that I wake up. Yeah, and I'm ready to work and I'm full of energy. So my productivity has definitely increased being in these countries.
What kind of like commitment mechanisms or techniques have you used to keep yourself focused? Like since you don't have a boss like over you telling you what to do, like, you know, do you use like calendars? Do you use like pomodoros, like task lists? Like how do you keep yourself like?
Yeah, I have all those, but yeah, and I'm always looking for the same next thing. I definitely do tasks list, but I wish I could show you. I just started a new method called the Full Focus Planner, and it's a planner made for like digital marketers, I think, or people in these positions where we have a lot of small tasks and big tasks. So I write down 3 big things I have to do today. Like if I do these 3 things, I'm good. And then I have another list of things. Next to it, I have my schedule with my calls, so they're not in the middle. And then I have another page for all the notes I take. So that has helped me a lot. And then every day I look back if I didn't finish anything and I bring it to the next day. And at the end of the week, I review it all and I see what has, like, first of all, I look at everything that I accomplished, because we forget about this, and it's like, it boosts your energy. It's like, wow, like, I didn't finish these projects, but I figure out all that. And then I plan what I want to do next week. And the projects that I don't finish, I just, I have like my Nomo, I don't know if you know the tool.
Yeah.
So doing, to do, done.
Yeah.
And I just put it there, and every now and then I go there to see how it is. And yeah, one thing that is working for me so well, and I don't know if this is off topic, but I think it's very important, I just realized it this Monday, is that my weakness is that when something, I cannot figure out something, I don't understand it, I start going to small parts of the project and figure out that, and forgetting the macro and working on other projects. So I'm working, but I'm procrastinating in what's important, in one of those 3 big things. So that's been always my weakness, and like my boss realized that, and he called me. He's like, Agatha, let me help you. And I was like, okay. And just in 30 minutes, we talk about this project. I started writing it down, and he got me started. So 1 hour after, I finished it.
Wow.
So that was a big learning for me. And so don't be scared to ask for help. If you get blocked with something, just ask to a colleague or to your manager, and they should support you. And that was very, very good for my productivity now. I can get more stuff done and like what's important, right?
So kind of related to that. So your boss, like your company knows you're traveling, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess, can you talk a little bit about like how you've built trust with your manager, with your company, like trust for them to know that you're going to get your work done and like traveling isn't going to impact that? Like, I guess, what have you done to prove your worth in your role?
Right. So it's funny, because my company has always trusted me, and I wish everybody was like that, and you don't have to tell them to trust you or show something. They should trust you. If they hire you, it's for a reason. But obviously, like, I always ask for permission. Like at the beginning, I will say like, hey, I'm doing this, and I will just see their reaction. But they're like, you have these KPIs. If you get them, you're good, and if it's not, let's talk about it, what's happening. And yeah, my like the founders of the company are also traveling and living their lives.
Got it.
Yeah.
So it's like very much like part of the company culture.
Yeah, they've always been remote even before COVID. So
interesting.
Yeah, but I will advise people to just find like not the input that you put on work, but the output. Find that and say, all these things, I'm gonna achieve them. I'm at home or traveling, and make your boss look at those and not look at the hours or where you're sitting. Like that's not okay, I think, anymore.
So I guess like both when you were in Costa Rica and being here in Mexico, how often have you been like moving around, like switching from place to place?
So once a week, more or
week.
less. So in Costa Rica, I went to 6 different locations.
Oh wow!
Then I've been to Guatemala for 2 weeks, and then I went to the States for work, to Charleston 1 week, and then to Miami for 2 weeks. Then I went holidays, actual holidays, because people think we're in holidays all the time, and I'm like, no, I'm also sitting on my desk. Yeah. So I did just as holidays for 1 week in Jamaica, went back to Miami, and now I'm here for a week. And then next week I'll be in Puerto Escondido, and then back to Miami for work. Like, it's very, very intense.
I guess, how long does it generally take you to like set up a routine in a new place? Or do you feel like you touch down, you just find your seat and you immediately start working? Like, do you feel like you need to kind of like get accustomed to the place or build a routine?
Yeah, so this is something that everybody thinks like, oh, I want to be home because I have my routines and I have to build these things. I made my routines easy to take anywhere. So it doesn't matter where I go, I can do my morning routine, my work start routine, my work finish routine, and my bed routine. And it consists of simple things. I need to have a clean space. So I clean my screen, I clean the place, and I put everything on its place. I need like a beverage. So I feel like I'm enjoying my time here. I give me my water, sometimes I bring some fruit. And then I have like a few tasks like checking the email, checking the Instagram DMs, checking all these things, and that's how I get started. And then I have my music, which are like mixes without vocals for an hour, and I just start flowing. I get into the flow. I play that music when I'm not focused. I play that, and all of a sudden I find myself like just flowing in work.
Totally.
So I always have this routine to start, and then to finish, I try to close all tabs. I move my tasks to the other day that I haven't finished. I turn off my laptop and ready to go.
So kind of that like work organization is really important to like keeping your productivity high.
Exactly, and this is something that I'm realizing now. I became extremely organized, but that's because I'm a really messy person. I am always like a mess, and I'm organized in my mess. But I realized that if I don't want to waste time looking for things and I want to be productive, I need to be really organized. So, and especially traveling, I have like my bag from my medicines, my bag from my bathroom things, my little bag for my jewelry, and I have my wallet for only cash, my wallet for cards. I try to keep everything very organized.
To kind of have like some sort of like structure within the chaos.
Right, exactly. So I know if this goes there, and otherwise it gets very complicated.
Totally. So can you tell me like a little bit about, how important work was to your identity before the pandemic, before you went to remote, and like how important it is now, I guess?
I always try to don't make work like be my whole value, as many people do. I like to think that I'm a lot of things, and some of them contradict each other. I can be very sporty and I can be very lazy, and that comes with everything. But yeah, lately I feel very, very proud of my work position and what I'm doing. So it's getting more into my identity for sure. And but it also comes because I'm in an early stage in my career. So before I was just doing internships, so I was like, I'm just an intern,
Totally.
And now I have like a full-time job and tons of responsibilities, and so yeah.
How important would you say like your specific job title is to your identity compared to like being a digital nomad?
Can you repeat?
Like how important is your specific job title to who you are versus how important is being a digital nomad to who you are?
Oh, being a digital nomad is definitely like really, really inside who I am, because I'm a free bird. I love traveling, I love meeting people, and I love exploring. So I'm like, I don't think I'll ever go back to an office, but full time, yeah, I feel like I'm going off topic.
No, you're not at all.
No?
You're not at
okay.
all.
So
this is exactly like what I asked. So
awesome. So what I think a lot is that I'm just gonna do 6 months. So 6 months in Europe, 6 months in America, 6 months traveling, 6 months at home. That's the sort of thing that I'm planning to do. I just like to go with my feelings and how I feel and what I need at the moment, and we're always evolving.
Yeah.
And that's why being a digital nomad gives me that freedom more than a stable job. But doesn't mean maybe one day I have my own company and for 6 months I want to have an office in Madrid and work with my friends and get a lot of work done and then going out to restaurants. But then I want to continue traveling.
How do you decide like a new place to go?
Right? This is I love this question because it's literally like how I feel or if I meet someone. So for instance, Jamaica, I just met this girl and she told me, I'm going to Jamaica, and I was like, wow, really, I thought back in 2016, I got to know about this country and I was like, I need to visit. So I ended up just going with her, and it wasn't
the moment was just right.
And now I'm telling you, I'm doing this route in America, but maybe I end up like hoping islands in the Caribbean. Like,
totally.
It depends on how I feel and all these things.
You think it more depends on like the people that you meet or like research you do on the internet?
I think it depends on the people that I meet, because to be honest, on the internet, when it comes to traveling, there's a lot of blogs and Instagrammers, but they don't tell you the real stuff. It's very hard, it's very commercialized, and I really dislike that. So my way of traveling is that I arrive to the capital, to where the airport is, and I stay there. I go outside and I meet the locals and I hang out with them, and they're like, no, the coffee, you go there, the best place is there, you need to eat this, you need to go there, you need that, and they help me. So based on that, I can plan the rest of my trip.
Yeah.
And because to me, when I travel somewhere, I want to live like a local. So if I'm in Costa Rica, I'm gonna be doing yoga and going to the beach, and if I'm in Miami, I'm gonna go on a boat and to the parties.
Yeah.
I just do what the locals do.
So I was gonna ask you about that. Like, I guess, what are the types of people that you mostly interact with? Are they mostly like foreigners, locals? Like, what language do you find yourself speaking?
I always like to hang out with the locals, but I definitely in America hang out with a lot of Canadians and Americans. And to be honest, I feel very comfortable in English always, yeah.
And what about like in Mexico, and especially staying in Salina, do you feel like you're mostly interacting with other travelers? Like, how do you integrate
definitely.
yourself?
Here is a lot of Americans and Canadians, so I hang out with them a lot, definitely. And I love hanging out with them. I love meeting travelers and hearing their stories and their plans. They're always so inspiring. But I always try to meet local people with couch surfing or just going to wherever, like the restaurant, and talk to people.
Yeah. How important would you say your national identity is while you're traveling?
I mean, I don't care. Like, I don't care where people come from. I like to know their culture and their languages and interesting.
And what about
things.
yours? Like,
But mine, I mean, I'm proud being from Spain. And it's just funny that everybody I tell Spain, they're like, oh, I love Spain, Barcelona.
and you're like, sure.
Like, I don't even talk about my country anymore. I'm just like, yeah, Spain is so, Barcelona is so cool. And that's what I do, you know?
Yeah. It's not really that important.
Everybody's so excited about Spain.
That's so funny. How do you kind of like find a sense of belonging or like a sense of community moving around so often?
Oh, that touched my heart because you don't have that. You don't have that. Like, you are on your own, and that's definitely what I miss. You know, I don't come home to anyone. I don't get calls to. I don't have my bar to meet my people. So, you know, some days I would get really homesick, and then I just call a bunch of friends and family, and they make me feel better. But I just feel that there's never gonna be full happiness. And if you're just working a normal job and you love that, you're still maybe gonna miss traveling. You're still gonna miss somebody.
Totally.
So what I do is just like call my friends, tell them that I love them, and just calm down and just get into work or do other things and just enjoy what you have to enjoy.
How do you think your social life has changed since you've started traveling?
I've met so many people, and beautiful souls, and you know, although I just met them, the connections are so much stronger. It's so much faster because like I met you yesterday and tomorrow you're leaving, so it's now or never. Or like I had this amazing experience in this place, and I cannot call my friend because she doesn't know anything about me for the last 2 months. I cannot tell her about my day, and she needs to know the whole story. So in the plane, I will just tell her my crazy day to a stranger, and she will be so excited. So my social life has increased, and also it's not about social, but myself, I feel way more confident.
Why is that, would you say?
Because, you know, and this is another topic, which is safety while traveling. Everybody talks about that, and I just learned, like, in the University of the Street, you know, like you have to walk with confidence. You gotta go like this. And you know, in Jamaica, people attack you. Like they try to sell you stuff, and they can be very annoying. They call you like, "Talk to me right now." And I'm like, "No, sorry, I'm bye." And one guy got really, really mad, and he was like, "If I tell you to talk to me 1 minute, you come here and you talk to me, okay? Because I rule here. I can take your car, okay?" And I'm like, "Okay, yeah. What do you want to say?" And he's like, "I was just saying that it's so smart that you put the key of your car inside the bottle to cross the thing." And I was like, "Okay, thank you. Bye." But yeah, I'm just impressed on how much confidence I have. When I arrived, I was walking through San Jose, Costa Rica, like, what am I doing?
San Jose is also not a very nice place, but yeah.
No, but I like it though, and you know, everybody's like, be safe, and I thank them to make me be aware of it, you know, but every country is safe and unsafe at the same time. You just gotta, you know, be aware of your surroundings, be confident, and just take care. But I've never felt unsafe in the whole trip.
I'm sure speaking Spanish like helps a lot.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that, and then I was here and I was like, wait, this is a huge advantage.
I didn't think about it either, and then like my American friends come, and like sometimes I just watch them, like I was just watching them like try and order food or try and get directions, and I'm just like, my gosh, like you literally can't do anything. Like
it has to be very frustrating.
Yeah. So I guess going back to like before the pandemic when you were working in an office, right? Like you were commuting, like working all day, coming back home. Like what would you do, I guess, with like your first hour of free time after you finished work, if you weren't studying?
I'll be just decompressing. Like I remember I'll be just like, that was like 8 hours there with all these people, and you know I have my team, but there was all these people in the office that I don't really talk to, and they like share the same space with me. But like, I don't know anything about them. I don't know if we get along now. It was weird. And I would just be decompressing, putting my headphones and just go home. Sometimes I go get some food, but it wasn't, unless the days that I would just go with my friends and have aperitivo in Italy, that would be very, very nice. But yeah, that's what I would do the first hour, the normal. If it's socializing, it would be very fun, but usually I would just be very, very tired because commuting, it's very, very tiring.
Totally. what would you do, I guess, like with your first free hour here or like in Costa Rica, or like you finish work 4 or 5 p.m., like what do you do?
So to be honest, like I don't work like 8 hours straight.
Mm-hmm.
So usually I will like start work and then go to the yoga class or go make myself some lunch or go to the restaurant and then get back to work. So after work, I'll just, hang out with people or go to the beach, do a workout, just call friends or just relax. But I'm still like tired from like all the mental effort that I've put, but it's just easier because I close the laptop and I'm in the jungle and I can go to the beach or I can just go lay in bed. I don't have to go take the metro or grab my bike and go across the city.
Totally. Cool. Well, I just have a couple of more questions. Oh, okay. So you were in Costa Rica for 6 weeks-ish?
For 1 month.
For a month, okay. And you've been in Mexico for a week?
3 days.
Oh, wow, okay. So you haven't really spent more than like a month in a certain country, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever think about like, visa stuff, like being able to like get back into a country, or like, what countries you'd be able to get let into, or is that not really a concern?
So like Spanish passport is really, really strong. So, and especially with these countries, they have really good relationships. So it's not an issue for me to travel.
Not really
here.
something you think about.
Yeah. In fact, Mexico, like before the day of my flight, I was like, do I need a visa? And like I got a visa, a last minute visa for $30, and I was like, okay, whatever.
Nice. So I guess like what do you think like are your most like important professional values, like in terms of what is driving your career? If you had to pick like 3 values.
Like my values at work or what drives me?
Your values at work. Like what do you value about yourself and a job in terms of like the work you're doing?
Okay, I'm gonna say something and then you tell me if I
yeah. And I'm also gonna ask about like personal values. So like.
Okay, so at work, I think one of them is showing up always, like
consistency.
Yeah, consistently show up and just be there. Think about business, even if you think that they're not a project's not gonna work out. Show up to the meetings and figure out. The second one will be collaboration, always with people. Like you can achieve this, but with people you will achieve this. You'll never achieve this on your own. So to me, collaborate with other people and getting inspired for others is extremely important. I've never thought about like my value, like 2 years without going into an interview, I guess.
I know it's kind of tricky.
Yeah, my third one will be to always like try to do your best. And like if your best is not what you wanted, that's okay, and always like try your best, but also don't try to go for perfection. Just get it done, Getting it done is more important than getting it perfect. Get it done and then get it better, but just you have to finish the things. You cannot just like start off other projects and just try to make it perfect, but you end up doing nothing, and the days pass by and you're getting older. So it's important to do it.
Yeah, totally. What would you say then are like your most important personal values that drive the decisions that you've made about your life?
Okay, so one that is huge for me is people. It's like my friends and my family. To me, like that's the most important thing in life are our relationships. So I will literally like do anything just to see my friend for 1 day, and like I be tired, I might need to rest, or I should like finish this project, but I'm like, it's my opportunity to see my friend, and like one day I will look back and I only spent 1 month with this person. So I always put effort on seeing my friends and family. What else? The second one is maybe loyalty. Like I like to be loyal, to be there for my friends and help them. Personal values.
I guess also like in terms of like travel, like in terms of like why you're working the job you're working, like why you've made the choices that you've made.
I just really believe that, and then this is like I got it in a tattoo. You always have to just live your best life. Every year should be the best year of your life. So if something is not working out, you have to do something, even if it's hard, even if you're so scared. You have to do it. You have to do it. And I see so many people that they don't like their job, or they don't like their times, or they don't like anything, and they just sit at home and like watch Netflix. And that's not the way to go. So I always like look at my life, and whenever I see something is not working out, I change that. So that's been really, really important for me.
Would you say that's kind of like courage or like risk taking?
So to be honest, I think it's a blessing that I have, that I'm able to do these things, because I think they don't want to just watch Netflix and suffer, but they just don't have the ability that I have. So, you know, I don't think this lifestyle is for everyone. And, you know, like if you have your home and your job, that's an amazing life worth living as well. But this life is possible, and some people is very close to it, but you just gotta take that flight. And once you're there, everything is gonna work out. So one last thing that I'm doing lately, I'm getting so much into my spirituality ever since I'm traveling, and I'm loving to hold the uncertainties. And totally. I'm like, whatever. I don't know what I'm sleeping tonight. I don't know what I'm doing this weekend. Totally. I don't know anything. And when you let go of all of those worries, everything starts to fall into place. You meet the right people at the right time. You have amazing time, and you just watch the unfold, and you're just there watching. And I feel, many people is always like, but when are we going this and here, and we need to have that? Totally. No, everything will fall into place. Yeah. Totally. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Those were all of my questions. That was really beautiful. So I'm just gonna pause this. Thank you so much. Like, you've really lived an amazing life, and like it was so great getting to hear about it, and like hearing about like what inspires you, and like why you've made the decisions that you have. Like it's really inspiring, and I feel very lucky that I've been able to like be a part of your journey and hear your reflections on all of these things. I know it's like kind of a lot to like think about these things. It's maybe not like something that you think about, you know, every day. But I really appreciate you kind of like digging into it and like trying to like really understand these things about yourself. So
no, thank you. I was very excited for this interview. I might share it, and I hope like it helps people.
Yeah, totally.
And also like it's good for me to reflect in these things, and it's very interesting, and like how we're constantly evolving, right? So my thoughts keep on changing all the time. Totally. So it's good to reconnect and see, okay, where are we standing?
Where are we? Like, where have we been? Where are we going? I really resonate like with what you said about, you know, like this kind of release, like relinquishing control. Like that's really what I felt when I was traveling last year. Like obviously I wish I could have I love doing interviews, but it's so funny, like this is like a separate thing, but like I feel like I'm a person that like likes to talk a lot, and like likes to talk a lot about myself a lot, so like it's really cool for me to just like sit back and like hear about people's lives and just
I should do that too.
Yeah, it's right, because like I feel like we're very similar. Like we just really like to talk about our experiences, and so like I'm just sitting there like I agree with everything you're saying. I have so many thoughts and so many experiences are exactly like yours, like, but I'm just not gonna say anything. But yeah, like I think that that's like what really inspires me about this life is like I like grew up in a place that was like very regimented. Like people have a plan. You go to school, you go to college, you get a job, you get a family, and then you just work for 40 years.
Because that's what society
tells you to do. That's what's right.
And they don't question it.
But I think it's also what you said about like being attached to a plan, like wanting to have control over your life.
Exactly.
And like people refuse to acknowledge that like you aren't you. Like you aren't like an inherent being that like has an inherent like life, I guess. Like you're kind of this like, at least I believe like you're just kind of this like floating cloud that's like watching you like live this life, and like you don't really have control over like what's gonna happen or who you're gonna meet or like even what choices you're gonna make, because your choices are dictated by like everyone around you, or like a poster that you see on the internet, or like
generational trauma
trauma, things your parents would tell you that you don't even notice that they're saying, right? Like you're not really you're just like a compilation of all of these different things. So I think like my life has gone so much better since I acknowledge like I don't have control over it. Like I'm just gonna do what feels right in the moment.
You have control over a few things. Use them.
Yeah.
and do what's best for you. But the rest, watch it unfold, and you meet the best people. You have the greatest time. You learn the most. Like, come on, like usually, like I came here to America and I'm just traveling and at the beach and stuff. I'm in the best point of my career right now.
Yeah.
I just got a raise. I'm
Yeah.
getting new responsibilities, and it's this is happening. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So you need to make yourself happy.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, I'm sorry. Can I like add something? Actually, I want to see if I can like record a little bit more because I forgot to ask you a question.
Cool. I'm loving the conversation. So.
Let me see. Okay, whatever. I can't. Never mind. It's fine. I can't like add anymore. Oh wait, maybe I can on my phone. Okay, sorry. So sorry. One last thing I wanted to ask you about was kind of like your career like advancement. So like you started off as an intern at this company, right? And then you got a promotion to like a full-time job just because the company was growing, or like how did that come about?
So I started as a social media manager, and we're trying to do Instagram, but I'm selling a whole ass bed, so it's hard to do Instagram and tell people to buy this whole bed for your house. So that didn't work out so well. And then with the founder of the company, we'll just talk what can work, where can we find people, and we found like new channels of marketing, and they will just give me some new responsibilities. And I'm so glad that my manager, he always believed in me, in my potential. So although I wasn't doing like amazing results, he always believed like I have to be in this company and I have to be here. So that's why slowly. And I told him, like, because I was working part-time, right? And I just finished my bachelor. I told him I'm looking for jobs. And he was like, you could work here 40 hours if you wanted. And yeah, it was so confusing for me. I was like, should I do this or not? And because I didn't have a marketing director that told me what to do, I had to figure out on my own what can work for this company. And then, whenever they hired the marketing team was the founder, a marketing guy that took the company from like, I think 200,000 to 5 million revenue.
Wow.
And this person did an amazing job and worked with us. And at some point he has his own company that is flourishing. So he's leaving us, unfortunately. So when he left, I got many of his responsibilities. And then they also hired more people because he was like doing the work of like 5 different specialists. So whenever I took his choice, I became the oldest employee in the company. So that's why now.
So then how did you get like your most recent raise and like promotion? Like, do you feel like your like lack of planning in like where you're gonna be and like your like logistics has impacted like professional planning?
Not exactly. So I think it's been the fact that I'm now in Eastern time zone, in American time zone, that has helped me to do more collaboration, that has improved my work, right? Going back to how important collaborating it is. But then it's just been me being proactive and finding like ways to help the company and just like finding these huge responsibilities. So I got all these responsibilities now, so they give me a raise, but I'm planning to just prove my worth, prove that I can do all this, and then get another raise sometime soon.
So like you do see like a future of like promotion within the company.
And they're like keep it up, Ageda, and like if you continue to grow this company, of course it's gonna be reflected in your salary as well. So like this company is acquiring brands. We have 2, and they might wanna acquire more. Wow. We're gonna have more products. So. My manager is like my mentor to become my director at some point and have my own team one day.
Damn.
So I definitely want to stay with them, and I can be with them and travel inside America. I definitely in the future want to travel Asia, Australia, and all that. But right now I have to be here. There's many countries to see, many things to do. So for the next years, I just want to stay with them and. Especially when Gary left us, we were also heartbroken. And my manager was like, Agda, you're not leaving me, right? You stay with me here 2 years. And I'm like, yes, I'll be here.
Awesome. Okay, well that was like my main last question. But thank you so much. This was like so interesting and
was it a good one?
Yes, like so interesting. it's just like really cool to hear about everybody's jobs and like everybody's like different paths. And it's really crazy that, you know, people are working all these different jobs, like, you know, marketing, cybersecurity, dating coach, videographer, like whatever. And
Cool.
all of the same things are
Designers. I've also seen people like designing
graphic
and like
designers.
they will do it at night in bed, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you see, that's when she feels the more inspired.
Exactly.
Why will she have to go to the office?
Exactly. It's just a completely different way to think about work.
Right.
Like completely different.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, you probably like know this too, just like having studied economics, but like I don't think this is something that people really think about when they think about like traditional, like neoclassical economic models.
Mm-hmm,
like the value of like freedom, the value of like human interaction, the value of flexibility. Like these aren't things that are incorporated into like how many hours is somebody going to work.
Only the people at the top can think about those things, right? But
Yeah.
it seems like employees are not able, and I don't see a reason why not. They will be more productive for sure.
Especially now that it's kind of like been proven, like no way, like.
And everybody has like unproductive days, so let these people on those unproductive days to focus on laundry and other things that don't require their mental strength.
Maybe it stopped.
Yeah.